Okay, I'm gonna go over the Pharaoh one this time. Nope, not loadout. Uh, it's because from personal experience, the anabolic pollination, uh, it's decent. 100% toxin damage. It should be your weapon's base damage. So if you say you have 50 base damage, well, it's gonna give you another 50 toxin damage. I I'm actually here to test out if it mixes with weapons. So I'm gonna bring an Ignis with zero mods on it. So it has a base fire damage. So nothing here. Starts with base fire damage. I want to see if it mixes with the spores that the Pharaoh one gives out. And then there is the endoparasitic vector. I've used it in Heart of Deimos, just open world. I've used it in actual missions. It's I've also just ran some testing to see how it behaves in the simulacrum. It is just not very it's just like it's just not worth it to use it. Like it's cool. Uh I've also found a bug with it. But outside of that, it's not. Wait, chargers? No. Let's put some lancers. No, let's just go with 4. So my damage should go up by 50% by 100% because of toxin, but clone flesh have a significant reduction to gas damage, so I should be doing a little more than remove the chargers. There you go. Also, these are level 80 enemies. So if I crit, it's like 30, 29-ish damage. Pick up the toxin. So roughly the same amount of damage that I was doing before, but this time in terms of gas. That's a lot of damage reduction. Okay, so if it adds the toxin damage and combines with other elements, so you can treat it as if it is a toxin mod. And it refreshes when you step into the trail again. And the animation for the paras— why are you on fire? I'm not shooting you. And the animation for the parasites, it does the roar, stops, closes your mouth, and then it shoots. From earlier testing, the 5-meter radius is pretty small, so it's very difficult for the parasite to actually hit something, to actually catch an enemy. Because it attempts to bind enemies within 5 meters thanks to this one. So if it's like against an infested, it should probably work a lot better. Other thing is, where'd you shoot the thing go? Oh, why is it on the floor? Okay, the other thing is I noticed that earlier when I was standing on top of the bridge, or rather where you can spawn the enemies, it's a parabolic projectile. That means that it will miss if it is far enough away. Hello? You're targeting something at 30 meters away. It's gonna just look at it and thinks to shoot it at a straight line. But the projectile is not a straight line. Therefore, anything that is over 15 meters realistically is not gonna get hit. So we're here. It only went 15 meters. That guy's at almost 30 meters. So which ones does it work on? And whichever one he attacks. See, it lands, but guess what? 5 meters? This is 5 meters. There's no visual effects going from this enemy to this one to pull it. Because it's supposed to behave like enemies within 5 meters of this one cannot leave that area and takes viral damage. But that one was within 5 meters. Oops. Well, it flew right past him and didn't pull him in. So, I don't even know how it behaves. I'm not even sure how it works. And I don't know why you're applying fire procs when you don't have fire. What are you doing, dog? Dog, thing. I don't even know what you are. So the E needs to fix the dog. Fix it. So no parabolic, faster projectile, and probably not 30-meter targeting if it's gonna have a parabolic. It's either or. If you want 30-meter, fine. This cannot be parabolic. If you want... So parabolic projectile is basically a czar or arrows, but arrows is on a much lower end, unless you're using a lens or a prop. So something with a parabolic projectile. Phantasma, charge shots. So the dog is trying to do this. Haha, I get the tendril on you. What the ball is actually doing is this. Whee! And completely missed. And it doesn't activate if it's on the floor. So yeah. The parasite needs a lot of fixing. It's very niche right now, and I wouldn't, and outside of infested, I wouldn't suggest anyone trying to use it. Unless you can guarantee that the enemy is gonna be in melee range. Or very close to melee range. Because the larva is pretty much limited to around 15 meters at most. Basically, just you're fighting infested with it. It'll be your grouping mechanic, but they group on themselves because they're melee, so pretty useless in general. Damage boost, great. It combines with elements, so you need to be careful with that. Larva shoots, bad. Pretty much borderline useless outside of melee range enemies. The parasite just need a lot of upgrades. Once it has any of the aforementioned upgrades, like not targeting 30 meters, or not parabolic, or just having a longer reach, so instead of 5 meters 10, it'll be great. Until it gets any of those, it's bad. And yeah, that pretty much covers all three dogs. Vizier, your passive support healing for against chip damage. The CC is meh on it, but it's still better than the Pharaoh. Pharaoh, damage support, not very good for CC. And also the damage support it provides for some reason applies to operators, so that's probably a bug there. And Medjay, very good general purpose CC support. Yeah, that knock and that's 3-second stun can change a lot. Also, he's ignoring line of sight. Also, the other dogs ignores the Vizier's blind also ignores line of sight. So it will shoot through walls, or attempt to anyway. But yeah, Medjay, general purpose, Pharaoh DPS supports, or DPS boosting support, Vizier, protection against HP chip damage on frames that cannot heal. But other than that, honestly, the dogs are just so much inferior compared to the cats. Specifically the Panzer one. So, Panzer one is just the best. I need to get the rest of the cats, but my Panzer my Panzer cat is the best. It's the best, hands down. It doesn't get ranged weapons, but it can spit spikes that does viral and can create spores, and it spreads. Good enough. It rivals it's better than Digin because it just doesn't die. Or if it does die, it respawns. Doesn't matter. You only lose access to it for a very short time. So I'm hoping the dogs get a buff so that they can be more on par with the cats. Yeah. The Predasites are just not very good. Half of their abilities are kind of useless. Or rather, they're niche and they're very unlikely that you'll come across the circumstances that they'll be very good at it. Or the ability is just bad in general, like the Pharaoh one. The Vizier one, the blind, it's okay. Not very strong, because you're only blinding up to 2 people. Realistically, you're blinding 2 people consistently. Only 120 damage. Very low corrosive proc. If it was more consistent or guaranteed, it would be much better, but still not very strong either way. Well, I think that's about it. That's enough ranting.